Hey everybody, from the seclusion of this underground bunker, I'm going to be covering everything that's happening during our mole series, recapping week 1 of the mole 2023 this week. I'm letting a few of the highlights kind of play in the background so you can see what happened during our challenge for part 1. So what happened last night was the challenge was a relay race. We had one group picked to be the leaders of assigning all the relay roles. That group was picked to be the 8th grade girls. And then we had every other sort of leg of the relay assigned by that group of leaders. I wanted to point out kind of what happened in the challenge and maybe where some groups were being a little bit suspicious there. First of all, so our leaders, those 8th grade girls, I wanted to, well, kind of ask them why they picked the smallest group to be the stackers. That proved to be a little bit detrimental to the cause there in trying to accomplish every leg of the relay, complete the whole thing in 15 minutes. But other than that, it seemed like pretty solid suggestions that they made for who was doing what. The first leg of the relay was our runners, and so that was picked to be our 7th grade guys. There were clearly some people, as you can see, walking this course, definitely not trying their hardest here. Maybe they just thought, this was an easy leg here, and we can just finish this up with plenty of time for everybody else to do their job. But yeah, a couple people we were waiting on for a while to start the second leg. This was Olivia and Emily's 7th grade girls being the balancers, and you can sort of see them getting underway here in this video. They're starting down the stairs, and so their job was to navigate the course by keeping at least one foot on the rope the entire way, and the small group leaders were judging to make sure that they had always one foot on that rope. Interesting technique from the last couple people here in that group. It looked like they were literally dragging their feet and could have easily gone a little bit faster. So some people right up front obviously trying hard, but the people in the back, yeah, really suspicious technique there for sure. Obviously slowing things up there. When they finish up, the action goes to the stackers. So the stackers group was the smallest small group in the evening, and they had a really hard time getting the stack of things high enough so that the laser tag targets could peek up over the curtain to be shot at. And I was scratching my head on why this group was not using the chairs that they had available to them more than they actually were. They picked the sort of like tougher things to stack up to put the targets up there. And so they had a real difficult time with this. This was definitely where the stalling was. Can't say that, they maybe didn't give 100% effort. It did look like they were trying really hard, just the technique was a little bit off. That's okay. I guess we're learning some stacking skills there for Emma, Marina, and Payton's 7th grade girls there. So as soon as they get things stacked up and the targets peeking over the top of the curtains, you can see in the far side of the auditorium, those 8th grade guys are ready to use their laser tag gun skills to knock out those targets. And this took a while. I'll honestly say the 8th grade guys were just not paying attention and doing what they're supposed to do. As soon as the laser tag guns got activated, they started shooting at whatever with a limited amount of ammunition to actually accomplish the task for the evening. They did not realize that they could reload. They kept coming to me for more ammunition, not realizing they could just hit a button on their laser tag guns to get another clip of stuff. And they were firing at the wrong times. I clearly stated they had to have all 4 targets showing in order to be able to shoot at them. They ultimately did accomplish the task, so things were done with 2 or 3 seconds to spare, all the laser tag targets being shot at. There was one, and you can kind of see in the video, that was really not stuck out from the top of the curtain very much, and that was the last target that they had to hit, so that's why I kept them going. All the other targets got shot out pretty quickly, but there was one that just spent very limited time above the top of the curtain, and they managed to hit that, which is interesting because they only hit 5% of the total shots that were taken by the 8th grade guys. So it's interesting to look at the 8th grade guys group and to see if they're deliberately trying to sabotage things or just being a bunch of goofballs. But the task did get accomplished with just a couple seconds to spare, so ultimately things did get done, but not with a whole lot of breathing room on behalf of the group there. So interesting look at all the groups here. The big question obviously is who is trying to sabotage things, and maybe who's just, well, maybe messing up but trying their hardest out here. Can you tell? We got a few more competitions in order to pick out who is the mole during our competition. Now, the most important part of this is our Bible study. So during week 1, we looked at just generally what our spiritual enemies are after, because this whole Bible study course is about our spiritual enemies. We're going to identify who they are and how they work. And just as an introductory note, last night we looked at Ephesians 6, verse 12. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of wickedness, the powers, the principalities of the air. So this was written by someone who was experiencing physical persecution. People were physically harming the church, including the author of this letter to the Ephesians. And what he's saying is that, you know what, it might look like they are actual people that are harming us, but there's a deeper cause of all this, and their spiritual enemies are what we're going to be looking at here. And we started also with Jesus' parable in the book of Mark, chapter 4, verses 14 through 20. You might recognize this parable. It's the seed and the sower, where Jesus kind of gives this image of God being a sower, someone who's planting things, and the seed being God's word, and it describes different types of soils that we're the soil, people are the soil, and how that word is responded to in our lives. And it actually describes the work of our spiritual enemies, because he says 3 soils of the 4 that he's describing, the word does not take root. There's things that happen within that, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. The word not taking root and why it doesn't take root. And the big lesson, the big takeaway from the first week was that our enemies are all after our faith. Our enemies are trying to keep the faith from spreading, trying to take it away from us. That is their plan and strategy. So we need to say that loudly and to make sure that we're building up, we're defending our faith. We're making it strong so that when the attacks do come, it's going to withstand that. That's the whole idea here. Yes, it's good to know the enemies and how they work, but we need to understand how we respond to that as believers and as disciples. So I hope that this whole big metaphor of the mole is going to be something that we return to time and time again to understand the enemy's attacks and what we need to do against those. So we're looking forward to this next week where the group gets a chance to add some more points to the pot. 75 points total that they earned last night. There will be 100 up for grabs this upcoming Sunday. And just as a reminder to all of you parents and students, we're going to start at 5 p.m. this upcoming Sunday, 5 o'clock p.m. instead of the normal 6:30. We want our middle school students there. We'll start off with our challenge for the evening to see if they can earn that 100 points or if the mole is going to be successfully sabotaging the group. And then from there, we are going to end at 8 o'clock. So we got 3 hours of content. We got games. We're going to watch 3 clips from the TV series that we've been watching, get into God's Word again, and lay out the first enemy and how they work. And then we'll break down into small groups to end the evening. We're also going to include dinner in that to make that time worthwhile for everyone. But hopefully they're understanding a little bit of how the series is working so far. So looking forward to this upcoming Sunday and what's going to be laid out in the mole. And great job to everybody earning that 75 points during the first week here. That's about ready to happen right here in this video. So great start to this series. Looking forward to this upcoming Sunday as we continue on the mole. We'll see you all soon.